Hi there, today I'm going to show you on how to create a reflection agent using LangGraph. So a reflection agent, you have two nodes. One is a generator node, which is generating some content, and then you have a critical node, which is criticizing or reviewing the content which is generated by the generator. If the work is not good, if it requires some modification, the work is again back passed to the generator. If the work is good, if the critic is satisfied, then the work is complete and the agent ends. Now let us see on how to code this using LangGraph. So here, one of the variables, what you need is a state variable. So the state variable keeps track of all the variables across the complete agent execution. So here we have a variable which has got the original query. You have the draft which is generated by the generator. You also have the critic which is generated by the critic node. And then you also have a variable which indicates the approval by the critic. Now let us look at the Python code for the generator node. So the generator node is in fact an agent which is connected to a large language model. In our case, it is GPT-4o mini. Now to this large language model, you need to pass a system prompt, which here it says that you are a technical writer, and then you also need to pass a user message. So this user message is constructed based on the original query, plus it will also have any previous draft which were created. It will have the critic feedback, and then it has got an instruction that you should produce a revised draft. Now the return of the generator agent is going to be the draft itself, as well as it will also have the number of iterations which has taken. Now this particular value is going to be updated into the state variable over here, the draft, which will be then taken up by the critic node. So let us now see the Python code for the critic node or the critic agent. So this agent is going to take the draft which is generated by the generator node, and then it is going to send a prompt such as that you are an editor and you should respond as approved if the draft is fine, otherwise you indicate what are the changes which are required. And then you pass this message to the large language model GPT-4o mini, which is going to come back with a response, and this response you put it in the variable called as critic, or you also update this approved flag if the response has got this word called as approved. So these two variables are going to be updated back into the state variable over here. You will have the critic as well as approved, which will be updated based on the response from the critic node. Now let us see the should continue node. So should continue node is very simple. It is just taking the approved variable from the state, and it is going to also see if the number of iterations are above the maximum iterations. If yes, then it is just going to say end, and if it is not, if the approval is not given, the work is again passed back to the generator. Now let me show you on how to connect all these agents using the LangGraph graph object. So here you are defining the graph object, you are adding the generator node, you are adding the critic node, and then you are also setting the entry point as the generator. And then you are adding an edge which goes from the generator to the critic. However, from the critic to back to the generator is a conditional node. So it is going to take into account the should continue logic, what we have defined over here. If there was an approval given, in that case, it is going to end. But if the approval not given, in that case, the work is going to be passed back to the generator. You combine the graph and then you kind of execute it. Now let me show you on how the execution looks like. So first of all, let us look at the different prompts. So here is the generator prompt that you are a technical writer producing executive ready content, generate a clear structured response, and if you receive a critic, revise the previous draft addressing every point raised. And here is the critic prompt that you are a strict editor. You should evaluate the draft on the factual accuracy, clarity, appropriate length, as well as zero filler. If all the four are met, then respond exactly with approved. Otherwise, list specific and actionable changes. Do not praise, just send whatever needs fixing. Now, let's say we have a query, something like this. that write an executive summary explaining why our company should invest in AI agent infrastructure. So let us look at the execution trace which takes place while the agent is executed. So first of all, you will have a response which is generated by the generator. Then the critic is going to check on the 4 points over here, and then it is also going to give the actionable items which needs to be taken in order to correct the draft. It goes back to the generator who is going to look at the critics, and it is going to also generate a second draft. And then this process is going to go on till the third iterations, and then finally you will have a final output when the critic is going to approve the draft. And so here we have the final output, which is rather nice looking. It has got the overview, it has got the market trends, as well as it has got all the benefits, as well as it has also got the conclusion and recommendation. So this was a brief summary on how a reflection agent works, and you should also try it out. Thank you.